This was my first time in Guatemala. I watched quite a few YouTube videos before going, and they helped me create an itinerary. Now, I'd like to give back by sharing the information and impressions I've gained with future travelers. If I go to Guatemala a second time, I'd probably skip Guatemala City, even though I recognize there's a lot to do and see there. When I'm on vacation, I want to escape the big city, especially since I live in one myself, New York. It reminds me of when someone I knew from another state asked me about my Christmas plans. I said, same as every weekend, get out of the city. Meanwhile, they were planning a trip to New York for the holidays. For them, it was an exciting event. For me, I was dreaming of New Hampshire, nature, snow, peace. I guess we're all looking for different things depending on where we're coming from, and that's exactly why, when I travel, I try to choose places that feel different from my everyday life in New York. It also depends on when your flight arrives. If you land in the first half of the day, I'd say you can easily get to Antigua. It's only about 15 miles away. Just keep in mind there can be traffic, especially in the afternoon and on weekends. Oh, and I think Uber is the best option. It's relatively inexpensive and gives you flexibility. One interesting thing, the Uber app in Guatemala generates a PIN that you have to tell the driver in order for them to unlock their app and start the ride. You can also take a shared shuttle from the airport or book a private car, but those usually need to be arranged in advance. There are also chicken buses that run from Guatemala City, though from what I understand, you'll need to transfer between a few buses to reach your destination. I was worried about safety, but it felt safe in Antigua, Panajachel, and around Lake Atitlan. In Guatemala City, we intentionally stayed in Zone 10. It's a business part of the city where banks and offices are located, but we were advised to take Uber at night from the restaurant to our hotel, even though it was a 15-minute walk, which we did. Uber was easily available and the cost was $3. Now, a few facts about Guatemala. Did you know that the country has the largest population of Maya people of all countries? The indigenous people speak 11 different languages, and the country's official language is Spanish. Guatemala is located on the Ring of Fire, Earth's most active seismic zone. Its capital was transferred 3 times from one city to another because of earthquakes. Antigua, the former capital, was partially destroyed by an earthquake in the late 17th century. However, because of the earthquake and since people did not build the way they did in Guatemala City, and thanks to its UNESCO World Heritage status, its colonial-style buildings and cobblestone streets are preserved to this day. Antigua is surrounded by 3 main volcanoes, Volcán de Agua, Volcán de Fuego, and Acatenango, and they're a big deal for anyone who loves nature or adventure. These volcanoes aren't just gorgeous to look at, they're a huge draw for hikers. Volcán de Agua, standing at about 12,300 feet, is the easiest to spot from Antigua because it looms right over the city. Its name means water volcano, because of a legend about a muddy flood that hit back in the 1500s. Hiking it is a solid day trip, usually about 4-6 hours round trip depending on your pace. The trail's steep but manageable, winding through forests and farmland. Just a heads up though, go with a guide because there've been rare safety issues on this one. Volcán de Fuego is the wild child. It's active like spitting lava and ash active, and sits at about 12,346 feet. You don't typically hike Fuego itself because it's too dangerous, but you can see it erupting from a safe distance, especially at night when the glowing lava puts on a show. Most people pair it with Acatenango for hiking since they're right next to each other. Acatenango, at around 13,045 feet, is the big one for hikers. It's super popular because you can camp overnight near the summit and watch Fuego erupt while you're chilling with a campfire. The hike's tough, about 5-7 hours up with a steep climb through cloud forests, pine trees, and rocky terrain. You'll want a guide for this one, and most tours include gear, food, and tents. There are tons of reputable tour companies in Antigua, but do your research, including about the difficulty of the trails. I've heard stories. Let's walk from the Arco de Santa Catalina, the most recognizable symbol and most photographed landmark of Antigua, to the Iglesia de la Merced. The Yellow Arch was originally built in the late 17th century to connect the Santa Catalina convent with an adjacent school, allowing cloistered nuns to cross the street discreetly without being seen. After the devastating earthquake of 1773, which led to the relocation of Guatemala's capital to present-day Guatemala City, the arch remained standing and became an enduring feature of Antigua's streetscape. The clock was added later in the 19th century, giving it the distinctive look we see today. The street leading to the arch is always full of tourists. The street is lined with restaurants, cafes, and shops selling local crafts, including textiles and jewelry, particularly jade, which has deep cultural significance in Mayan history. Our next stop is Parque de la Merced, a popular gathering place for both locals and visitors. The park comes alive during weekends and holidays, hosting food stalls and small markets, especially on Sundays and holidays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a great spot to try traditional Guatemalan street food like tostadas, churros, and atol. Unfortunately, we visited on a Thursday, so we missed the market, but we were able to explore the Central Market, which I'll show in the next part of my Guatemala series. Just across the park stands the magnificent Iglesia de la Merced, one of Antigua's most stunning Baroque-style churches. The church was originally founded in the mid-16th century but was rebuilt multiple times after major earthquakes. The current structure dates to the 18th century and can hold up to 1,500 people. Remarkably, it has survived several of Antigua's devastating quakes. Before leaving, we crossed the park to visit a historic public laundry facility known as Tank La Union, built in the 18th century. This open-air communal wash area with its series of stone basins was originally supplied by spring water. But today it's mostly maintained as a historical and cultural landmark rather than an active communal laundry site. Some locals might occasionally wash clothes there for tradition or photos, but it's primarily a tourist attraction now. Let me stop talking and let's enjoy the vibe of Antigua's streets. Feel it for yourself, the cobblestone streets, the hustle and bustle, locals wearing traditional clothes and being tourists themselves even though they come from nearby villages. Intact architecture from centuries ago. Just immerse yourself. Imagine you're there.
Ahí.